Welcome into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. It's a Wednesday, kids. That means one thing. It's time now for Supernatural News. And with Supernatural News, I need a co-host. So I go out and get the best in the biz for you people. That's how much I love you. So we went out. We got this big cuddly guy, a big cuddly bear, the BCB, the Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, Tim. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I know it's been a rough week, so let's clear the decks and let's address the obvious. I shouldn't say the obvious, but let's address what's been on everybody's minds. I told everybody last week that you are missing a friend, and so let's talk right away about it and tell people. As everybody knows in our audience, everybody that's a fan of pro wrestling, and yes, to the three dicks out there that are like, there's too much wrestling on this show. Fast forward, and we'll get to the supernatural.
No, don't fast forward, because this isn't going to be a wrestling talk. We're going to be talking
about a friend.
An amazing, not only friend, but a brother, an amazing father, amazing husband, and someone that every live he was in, he touched in a positive way. So it's not just wrestling talk. I met him through wrestling, but I always tell people we became bigger than wrestling. Just like you and I met in wrestling, we became bigger than wrestling because we became best friends. We became brothers.
Okay.
And that's how it was with him.
Thank you for putting me in my place. I appreciate it.
Well, not just you. I'm putting all those people out there that they hear the word wrestling and it has that mystique about it. And I've had it a lot with this. Mm-hmm. And my first thing is, this isn't about the wrestling. The wrestling is how he was brought into my life.
Okay.
This is about the man that I became friends with and spent a lot of time away from my family. So he became family.
Right.
And it just happened to be because we were both pro wrestlers. That's how we met. It's no different than you and I going to a Seal concert and becoming friends watching Seal.
We'd never go to Seal. You'd have to drag me drunken and out of my mind to a Seal concert. And what's he going to do? Sing one song over and over again?
I'm fine with it. It's a great song.
Oh, no, it's not. Anyway, go ahead. I digress.
So last Tuesday, we lost Jay Briscoe. Mm-hmm. His real name was Jamin Pugh. And like I said, I met. The story is this: is Jamin was taking his two daughters to cheerleading practice, and his two daughters are fantastic cheerleaders. They won numerous awards in cheerleading. He was just being a good father.
If I may, not just fantastic cheerleaders; they were on a national level. Bruiser, I mean, and if I may, intern Yoko has coached cheerleading. She's retired now, but she coached cheerleaders for over 20 years. And when I told her at what level Jay's girls were at, she was impressed.
Yeah, and they've won gold medals, and they've won, their teams have won, and they go to a nationally ranked team.
Yeah, national competitions, So
exactly.
Quite impressive what his girls have accomplished.
So him being the father he was taking the two of them, it was just the three of them in his truck, and he was taking them to cheerleading practice. And on the way, a 27-year-old mother of two crossed the center line and hit him head on. Both Jamin and the driver of the other car, the woman, they both died instantly. Jay didn't suffer. No, he was not wearing a seatbelt. Do I know if a seatbelt would have saved his life? I don't know. This isn't wear your seatbelt, kids. This is talking about the man. His girls, however, were wearing seatbelts, and they were trapped in the truck for about an hour. Now imagine that. Oh. You're injured, trapped in a truck with your father who had just passed away, feet from you. His two daughters, I'm going to hold their names to just private.
Yeah,
but
please.
The oldest lost feeling from her waist down. So they were rushed to two separate hospitals, and she was immediately brought into surgery. The other one broke her C4 and C5 in her neck, and her L4 and L5 in her back, and also ruptured her bowel. So they had to recess her bowel. Now, an update, which I've been doing, because Tuesday night I didn't sleep. When I got the news, it spread like wildfire, and I didn't sleep at all Tuesday because we're just trying to get the information. Is it true? Is it a hoax? because Jay was a very famous professional wrestler. Him and his brother Mark were the Briscoe brothers. They were 13-time world champions. They've been all over the world. Two of the most nice men you'll ever meet. Two God-fearing men, two Christian men. So that was Tuesday night. Was just trying to figure out. And then Wednesday we got more details. But we've been keeping updated on the girls. And the positive update is the one that had no feeling in her legs. The surgery was a success.
Good.
She now has feeling in her legs. She has just tinglies from the knee down. She hasn't moved her toes yet, but they expect her to have a full recovery. It's a long recovery.
Yeah.
And the other one, they did be able to fix the bowel. She's now in a back brace and a neck brace. Both girls are off IV medication and now just on oral medication. And the funeral is supposed to be this Sunday, and the word is they will both be able to attend the funeral.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I want people to know is I want them to know Jamin, not Jay Briscoe. I want them to know Jamin Pugh, the man.
Yeah.
I met him back in 2014. It was through wrestling. But then we found out we had a lot of interest. We were both fathers. And I remember every conversation that started with me, him, my tag team partner, Brian Malonis, and his brother, Mark, was always an update on our kids. My daughter, my oldest, is in the fitness competitions. She loves doing the fitness. Yeah. And she was getting, ready for a couple of them. And so we'd share stories about that. My son obviously was a football player and a wrestler. I'd share stories about him. And then my youngest was a softball player.
Okay. Well,
Jamin's girls, both cheerleaders. His oldest son was in wrestling and in, baseball and football. So in fact, Jamin coached his football team. So that's how we started a conversation. It was kind of we always called it the kid update. We wanted to know how the kids were doing, and then talking about the wives. And what's funny is one of my favorite stories was actually the very last Ring of Honor taping. Everybody brought their families, their significant others, which we did for big events because the Ring of Honor locker room was close. We were a family because we were on the road so much. We relied on each other. And we always had the married guys club is what we called it. And it was all the guys that had wives at home and we didn't want to do anything on the road that we couldn't come home and look our wives in the face with. And Jamin was a part of that. And that's how we all just got close because we were all fathers, husbands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you're on the road 5 days a week, 6 days a week, you miss your family.
Right.
And we just leaned on each other. Well, the last whenever we had the big tapings, we brought our families with us. Well, the last taping, his family was there. My wife was there, Mrs. Bruiser. And it was funny because Mrs. Bruiser and Jamin's wife both have the same first name. And they've known each other for a while because the wives always got together too. Well, Jamin and I were talking to each other. And for some reason, somebody had brought a case of wine for the locker room. Like the individual bottles. So there's Jamin and I don't normally drink wine, but it's free wine. So Jamin and I are drinking this wine and we both look over and there are our wives. And I go, you remember my wife? And I say her name and he goes, wait a minute, that's my wife's name. And we both kind of have this look on our face like, oh, and we turn and we look and the wives are laughing. And when they come over by us and go, you two look like the biggest idiots because our faces look like we had just discovered the Holy Grail or something like that. Because we just realized they both have the same. We've known each other for 8 years.
Well, of course, both their names are Mrs. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. And it was one of those moments. I won't share too many stories to bore the people out there, but I do want to let them know that Jamin, first and foremost, his whole family, the Pugh family, are very, very close and very, very tight. And when Jay passed away, I texted Mark, his brother. And Mark, at first, would just send emojis. But we knew Mark was getting a little bit better because then he started putting us in group chats and started talking about matches that we'd had and how fun they were. And it reminded me of a time when we were in Lowell, Massachusetts. It was my birthday, actually. And it was me and Brian against the Briscoes. And the thing about the Briscoes is they could go. I mean, if they had 20 minutes, they went hard for 20. So you had to put your working boots on. And there's a point in the match where, yes, we talk to each other in the ring. And we're on the outside and we're brawling. And Jay hits me on the back and he throws a chair in the ring. He goes, "Chicken." That's what we used to call Mark. That's Mark's nickname is Chicken. He goes, "Chicken, get in the ring, do that chicken shit." And so Mark goes, "Uh-huh." And he slides in the ring and Jay grabs me and goes, "All right, Chicken's going to do that chicken shit." And I'm like, what's the chicken shit? And Jay goes, "Oh, you'll know, brother, you'll know." And then Mark jumps off the chair over the top rope into a front flip. I'm like, "Oh, I got to catch him. Okay, I got it." But it was just, that was Jamin. He was always having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And just always cracking jokes. And I'm thankful that the last time I saw him was over Thanksgiving weekend when we had the big WrestleCade weekend that you and I were promoting.
Yep.
And he was there, and I walk up to him and I give him a hug as we're saying goodbye. And I said, "I love you, man. I'll see you down the road." And he goes, "Yes, sir." He says, "I love you too. But next time, you bring the beer." And I said, "I will, man, I will." And that was the last thing I said to him. And so I have that close to me too, that at least he knew how I felt about him before he went. And I want to thank all the fans and the listeners for reaching out and giving their condolences. It is a hard time because when this happened, the Ring of Honor locker room, we all got together and we've been all texting and stuff. And they just announced his funeral plans. So we're all trying to get our travel plans together because we're all going. You're going to have to hold a gun to our heads against us. We're all going to be there.
Yep.
But I totally forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, I forgot. Oh, we're all just that tight,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how much Jamin meant to all of us. That we're all willing to drop everything and get there for him.
Absolutely.
And do that. And it just reminds you that hug your loved ones close. Tell them that you love them. Tell your friends that you love them. I think I tell you every time we talk how much I love you and how much you came into my life. We came into each other's lives at a time when we needed it.
Absolutely.
Because we'd both lost something. And
I love you too, brother. You have no idea. And
when you heard the news, the first thing you did was message me, and it wasn't condolences. It was, "Hey, how are you?" And I told you, I was honest. I was a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Bruiser was a wreck. This is what I was going for. When you hear of a professional wrestler dying, and this is why it's so hard, normally they're on the road. Mm-hmm. We're going because we travel so much, accidents happen. So you always hear about wrestlers passing away while they're on the road, or it's a drug addiction that got a hold of them, or it's a heart attack in a hotel room.
Yep.
He passed away taking his kids to cheerleading practice.
Yeah.
Doing what every father that has kids out there right now listening to us in the range of our voice can hear. "Oh, I've done that. I've taken my kid here. I've taken my kid there." And it was an accident. And there's no ill will to the lady who did it. We don't know why. There's no ill will. The pews are asking, please do not hold ill will. In fact, they started a GoFundMe for her kids. Mm-hmm. There's a GoFundMe. It's not a GoFundMe, but there's like a group where you can donate to Jamin's family, which is all over my social medias. If you want to donate, or even if you just want to leave a note, saying that you're praying for the two little girls.
There's also a little button on there that you can leave. We're very fond of prayer and healing requests here. There's a little button there where you can pray for the family. You can actually click it and pray for the family. So if you don't have cash to donate, you can actually click that little prayer button, which I thought was really neat.
And the power of positivity and the power of prayer works, because when the oldest went in for surgery, they didn't think she'd walk again. Yeah. And everyone was praying hard for that little girl.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And she came out and had feeling in her legs. And then the next day she started complaining about the tinglies in her legs, and it itched. Well, that's the nerves waking back up. That's a positive sign. The doctor says it's annoying.
Yep.
But that's a positive sign.
Still praying for her.
Because they both have a long recovery. I don't know if anybody out there's broken their neck or broken their back, but it's a long recovery.
Yep. And it's a lifetime thing. And I so hope that she can bounce back and that she has her full health. When you're that young and you break, you break bones, you hope that they knit together successfully, that you can go on and have minimal impact.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're in and cheerleading is an aggressive sport.
It is.
You hope,
especially at the level they were at.
Yes, very competitive. I'm hoping that she can get back in where she can still be somewhat active and continue on and can bounce back from this,
And we also say prayers for the son. Even though the son wasn't in the accident, his life was forever changed too, because his father was taken away from him, and his two sisters, his younger sisters, their lives were changed forever. Like you just said, their lives are changed forever.
Yeah.
And I know the last update, we've had a few updates, but the update on him was Chicken Mark, his uncle. That's who he's been staying with. And we called him Papa Briscoe. That's their dad, his grandpa.
Yeah.
Took him to the hospital to see the girls. And they got both girls in the same hospital. And there's a picture floating around on social media right now of the two girls holding hands in their hospital beds.
Oh.
And he's in the background. And that just melts my heart as a father.
Yeah.
Because if people could know this family is a stubborn, strong, hard-headed family. And these girls are going to make it.
Good.
They're all going to make it. And Jamin was taken. He was only 38 years old and taken from us way too soon, way too young, too good of a man. And you and I were talking off air yesterday, I think it was, where I've been trying to focus on the positive and share the positive thoughts about Jamin and not thinking about the why or the what ifs, because whatever you believe in, this happened for a reason. We don't know the reason right now. We might not know it a year from now, but it happened for a reason. It just sucks that it was my friend, my brother, these kids' father, his wife's husband, taken away.
Yeah.
And it was, when all this came out, you just see how much he was loved. And there's, if you go to different websites, there's T-shirts for sale now. All the proceeds go to the family. There's a website for like you said, with the donations or the prayer button. I donated all my merchandise sales from this past weekend to the fund. They just announced the funeral to the select few of us, so we're all going to be there to celebrate his life and to share the great memories that we all have of him. Yeah. Just because he was such just a good man. I mean,
he was. Yeah.
If I can share one more story before we
I got one too. Can I share mine real quick?
Yeah, you go right
and then
ahead.
We'll end with yours, and then we'll move on to supernatural news. From a fan's perspective, I can't claim to know Jay. I've had two interactions with him. One was at an ROH after party in which, and briefly, I went up. I was at the time I was doing a radio show and podcast called Extreme Pro Wrestling Radio. And in order to get to know him and try to get an interview with him, I bought him a beer. But the bar, I won't mention the name of the bar, it was in St. Louis Park, was the direct sponsor of Ring of Honor at that time. And that's where they're bringing the after party. They're running short on beer, but they had the sponsor's beer there. That's all they had left. And when I asked Jay, well, can I at least buy you one of those? I didn't have any of his favorites there. He went, shit, whatever. I'll drink whatever. So I ended up getting that. And believe it or not, Bruiser, I got his email address. He wrote it in Sharpie on the back of a poster that I still have, which is right directly across from me. That poster is hanging on my wall in my viewing room or in my rec room. So in his handwriting, I still have his email address on the back of that poster. So there you go. Second occurrence is funnier than shit. Are you ready for this? Eisenhower, the Eisenhower Center, where ROH ran over in St. Louis Park. Main event. I think it was a really entertaining main event. Although unfortunately, it was Jay and it was Michael Elgin. Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Although, unfortunately, he ran up against at the time AJ Styles had come into Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. And AJ was stealing a few shows, and he had a really good, and I don't remember who his opponent was, but they had a match that had kind of stolen the show. Yeah. And everybody assumed the show was over. Of course, we're stupid Minnesotans. So AJ gets done with his match, and at the time, the runtime of the show was right at 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
So we're assuming, oh, show's over. Everybody's grabbing their coats and get ready to leave. And all of a sudden, Bobby gets on the mic, Bobby Cruz, and says, your main event for the evening. And we all went, what? It's 3.5 hours. God love Ring of Honor. We love Ring of Honor. We love the action.
Probably one of those TV tapings where we filmed.
Yeah, it was
a month's worth of TV in a night. So it's a good 4 to 5 hours. Yeah. I remember those.
So we were
there for that. Yeah.
We were like, huh? So Jay and Michael Elgin come out and they do another, I think it was 20 to 25, right?
Yeah, that sounds like Jay.
Yeah. So at one point they're doing this spot that seemed like it went on for about 5 minutes. And basically, and I think this was Michael Elgin. It couldn't have been Jay because this doesn't seem like a Jay spot, but it's basically one guy shooting another guy into the rope. He kind of comes in backwards. It's kind of a reverse, throw the guy over your shoulder type deal. He lands on his feet, grabs the other guy, shoots him into the rope. He goes, hits the rope, comes backwards, and then he grabs him and shoots him over and it's over and over and over again. It's like a cyclical thing, right?
Yep.
It's almost like a reverse suplex type deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and they land on their feet and push off.
Push off and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. God love intern Yoko. Okay. Because I've had her, I shouldn't put it that way. I've had her, with me backstage at not backstage at IWI, but she's been around the boys and she kind of knows a little bit of the lingo. All right. Never bring a woman who's half smartened up to a wrestling show who's had enough. Okay. She wants to go home.
Yeah. And
she yells at the top of her lungs in a very quiet Eisenhower Center. For the love of God, take it home already. To which both Jay and Michael Elgin look right at her and shoot daggers right through her.
Yep.
Holy shit, Bruiser. Yeah. I was so embarrassed. And then not only that, but the entire crowd looks right at her. Like, who is that? Like, that can't be a producer. But it was like, they were like, who the fuck is that? Right?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, shut up. Yeah. So that from a fan's perspective, most embarrassing moment I've ever had at a show. But one of the most, in retrospect, one of the funniest moments I've ever had. And thank God I didn't see Jay after that.
He probably loved it.
Yeah.
He when you'd get up to him, go, oh, Jay, it's you and me tonight, or, we're in a tag. Any ideas what you want to do? He goes, yeah, we're going to burn this motherfucker down. We're going to blow the roof off this place. We're going to have the best match ever. And he'd walk away, turn around, go, or we'll just shit the bed. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. And he'd walk away. But Jamin, as we got closer, we both have a love of beer.
Yeah.
And we'd always ride together because he knew that we knew one of us would always have a case of beer for after the show. And those are long car rides between towns because you fans get to get done and go back to your own rooms. We usually get into a rental car and drive 300 miles to the next town. So you got to find ways to entertain yourself. So we always get road sodas. I know it's illegal, but that's how we did it. And Jamin would always be, when he was main event, like I got a habit of hiding 4 beers from whatever case was in there, because 2 for his brother and 2 for him. Because when he didn't drink before his matches, because he wanted to be straight headed when he went into his matches, which is very professional. But he'd always come up whenever we get to the building. He'd walk in, there'd be me and Brian sitting down. He'd walk up and go, hey, bouncers, you got them beers? And we'd hold up the case of beer and he'd be like, my boys. And then he'd walk away. Then he'd get done with that match and he'd come back. And I remember always going to check on him because you've seen his matches. He left it all in the ring. Yep. And I say, you okay, brother? And he says, yeah, I'm good. And I'd hand him a beer. And I say, you sure? He's like, oh, I'm even better now. And it reminds me of a time that we did a loop. It was Canada. We did Buffalo, New York, and then we did Toronto. And so we get up into Toronto, and Brian and I would always do this thing after the matches called a toast of honor. And that's where we'd pull a case of beer, win or lose. We'd bring a cooler of beer, hand it to our opponents, and we'd toast. So no matter what, win or lose, it was a good fight. and the crowd would join in and they'd yell toast of honor, and we always did it. Well, Canada doesn't have good beer, and this is part of the reason I don't like Canada.
Here come the emails.
Yep, emails are coming. I get them all the time. Try this beer. Nope, Canada does not have good beer. And Malonis, this was his first time drinking beer in Canada, and we had one of the stagehands go get us the beer. I said, "No, just get a 6-pack. We're not drinking a ton of these beer. It's disgusting beer." He says, "Any kind?" I said, "I don't care. Just get us 6 beers."
Okay.
And so he goes and he gets Molson, and he comes back, and Brian's like, "You really don't like this?" I'm like, "Try it. If you like it, you like it. But me, no." And Brian takes a sip and goes, "This is the most, oh my God." I said, "Yeah." So we get done with our match, and we just use 2. Normally we'd get a 12-pack, but this time we just get a 6-pack because we knew it was bad beer. And we only drank 2 of them in the ring. We put the other 4 in the cooler. Now, 2 weeks later, we're in Nashville. Now, this is 2 weeks later in summertime.
Oh, no.
And the cooler stayed on the back of the ring truck because you can't fly with beer. So we left the cooler in the back of the ring truck. So the stagehand comes up and he hands us our cooler and he says, "Do you need me to run and get you guys beer?" We says, "No, we stopped and got some." And we open up the cooler and there's the 4 Molsons from Toronto.
No.
So Brian and I are giggling because it's like, "Oh, look, we got the 4 beers." And Jay comes in. And he just had a promo that night. He got hurt the night before.
Okay.
So he didn't have to wrestle. He just had to do a promo. And he says, "You boys got them beers?" And I said, "Well, we got these, but we got these 4 beers from Canada." And he's like, "Oh, good." And he grabs them, all 4.
Oh.
And we're like, well, Jamin, like those have been in the ring truck for 2 weeks now, and they're Canadian beer. And he says what he says to you. He says, "I don't care. I'll drink whatever." And slams all 4 beers in front of Brian and I.
Oh.
He no-sells it because this had to be the most disgusting, warmest, skunkiest beer. And he no-sells it and goes, "Thank you, boys. I'll take one of the good ones now." And we hand him a good one. He walks out of the room. And Brian and I go, "There's no way." Until the day he died. When I saw him, every time I saw him after that, I said, "Come on, man, tell me that had to be the grossest beer." And he'd always put his hand on my shoulder and go, "Bruiser, free beer is good beer."
Oh, no. Oh.
So to Jamin, I miss you, my friend. I miss you, my brother. I love you. Keep the beer cold. I'll be there soon.
It's a tougher man than I, that's for sure.
He is.
With that, supernatural news time. If I can uncurl my lips.
You've met the man. Does it shock you?
No, he was tough, man. He was tough.
Yes, he was.
Tough as they come, but nicest guy ever, that's for sure.
And if anyone wants to see how good of a guy he was, there's a video going around during the lockdown where his daughter had to practice for cheerleading and she couldn't do it. It was over Zoom. So he does it with her. He does the whole routine. It's on video somewhere. And that's how you can see how good of a dad he is, because they're in the quarantine. When we're all locked down in our houses, he made sure his girls still got to practice, and he even did it with them.
That is so cool.
Cutest video of a father and daughter you'll ever see.
That is so cool. Going to check that out after this taping. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, Bruiser, boy, do we have supernatural news for you today. That's for sure. The Earth's core has stopped and maybe we're reversing direction. By the way, the official apocalypse clock is now at, 90 seconds? I believe it's been. Yeah. That we don't have the actual story. I saw the update today.
Okay.
There's an actual apocalypse clock.
Yeah.
It's been fast forwarded to 90 seconds. So that basically means we're all screwed. I don't know why, but in
the next 90 seconds we're screwed?
No. There's I don't know how the formula works, but I think it's just meant for us to shit our drawers. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll get to that story. I'll try to dig that story up as we're doing things today. AI is now allowing you to, or finding a way for you to talk directly to Hitler and Jeffrey Epstein. That's coming up today in one of the more bizarre stories we're going to talk about. And a priest has gone to hell and they play Rihanna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've got an unusual version of supernatural news today, but let's start it out with the Earth's core, shall we? The Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing direction. This, according to a study, the surprising finding may solve long-standing mysteries about climate and geological phenomena. I don't think I have it up here on my button bar, so I'm just going to sing it. Earth's inner core has recently stopped spinning and may now be reversing direction of its rotation, according to a surprising new study that probed the deepest reaches of our planet, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, we got to probe that planet.
Yeah, you know it wants it. It's been begging for it, Bruiser.
Probe it deep, right to the core.
I couldn't resist. It's been probing the deepest reaches of our planet with seismic waves, by the way, from earthquakes, not with anything else. In case you had already gone there, we had. The mind-boggling results suggest that Earth's center pauses and reverses direction on a periodic cycle lasting about 60 to 70 years, a discovery that might solve long-standing mysteries about climate and geological phenomena, the second time I'm not singing it again, that occur on a similar time frame and that affect life on our planet. Of course, it must be noted that this is more or less the plot of the 2003 disaster film. I said rim. Boy, I need new glasses. Film The Core. Have you seen The Core?
I have not seen The Core, but I've seen Superman where he turns the Earth backwards and
it might be the same thing. I'm not sure.
Superman's out there spinning around.
If only we could dig up Christopher Reeve. No, I'm kidding. But there's no need to worry about averting an impending apocalypse by nuking the center of the Earth. We don't have to do that, kids.
Well, that's good.
That's a little extreme. Because the doomsday clock is or the apocalypse clock is at 90 seconds. So yeah, we're all going to die. I'm going to find out what that means by the end of this program.
I'm baffled. Like 90 seconds. So like if we see it click, we basically have time to go, oh, shit.
Yeah, but we have 90 seconds before we do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. While the core's rotation influences Earth's surface environment, scientists think this periodic spin switch is a normal part of its behavior that does not pose risks for life on our planet. Well, that's good. Earth's inner core is a solid metal, evidently ad for Horizon, because that just came up. You gotta love just pulling the stories live. Let's see, where was I? Okay, so scientists aren't sure exactly how fast it spins or whether its speed varies over time. Okay, so there's a liquid outer core. It's kind of like a candy. Yeah. I guess, yeah.
So how many licks does it get to the center of Earth?
An Earth? That's a good question. We need to find an owl for this deal. Okay. So Earth's inner core is a solid metal ball that is 75% the size of the moon. It can spin at different speeds with directions compared to our planet because it is nestled within a liquid outer core. But scientists are not sure exactly how fast it spins or whether its speed varies over time. Yeah. But there's lots of scientists looking at this deal, but the core is definitely shifting.
Okay, but they say it happens every 60, 70 years. We don't need to worry about it.
That's right. So you can
no nuclear bombs to the core. Superman, go back to saving lives.
That's right. Yeah, go back to saving real people in Metropolis. What was Metropolis supposed to be? If Gotham was supposed to be New York City.
No, Gotham was Chicago. Metropolis is New York.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and then Emerald City or Queen City is Charlotte. Where the green arrow is, that's Charlotte.
Okay.
Smallville is obviously Kansas.
Right, yeah.
Trying to think. I have a map somewhere. I'll have to dig it up that I got where it lists all that.
Oh,
in fact, now that we're getting our comic book room all set up, I'm going to hang it up in there because Mrs. Bruiser asks that all the time.
Okay. Right now. Yeah. All right.
Gotham is Chicago. Metropolis is New York. I know that's for sure. And then there was, I think they said like the Fortress of Solitude is up in Canada.
That figures. Superman's drinking shitty beer. Way to go. Do you think Superman drinks beer?
Oh, yeah. I think he's got to drink like 3,000 to get drunk, though, because his metabolism's so high.
Probably, yeah.
They covered that one of the comics. It's where the Flash and him are having a drinking contest. But because their metabolism's so high,
they can't get drunk. Oh, you know who's going to solve that debate?
Who?
Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Or Ziggy Marley now. Yeah.
But then in Superman 3, he drinks and he gets drunk, and that's when the evil Superman comes out. Remember?
But he was lessened by kryptonite, so he was able to get drunk.
You're right.
Right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, we debate the important shit here on Darkness Radio. That's right.
Go figure. A story about the Earth's core leads us down this road.
That's right. Other paranormal shows, they just bore you with scientific facts. We bring up the hypothesis of Superman and stuff like that.
And how many beers it takes to get him drunk.
That's right. We really should have had like what's his name on to debate that deal. He would have too.
Jim Lee?
No, the one scientist who's always on TV.
There's a lot of scientists.
That's true. There's only two of them that are on TV, and it's not.
Are you talking about Neil Tyson?
Yeah,
deGrasse?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah. We should have had him.
But then there's the guy with the crazy hair on the Ancient Aliens.
Oh yeah, he isn't on TV much anymore. He's only on Ancient Aliens. He doesn't do anything else. They have a tour now.
Ancient Aliens?
Yes, they've been on tour forever. They come to your city, they go, it's aliens, and then they leave.
So they're like aliens, huh?
Yeah, they get on stage.
What if the aliens are producing it?
Oh, that is a good conspiracy theory, my friend.
See?
Ancient Aliens produced by Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they show up, they get on stage, they go, everything is aliens, and then they leave. But yeah, it's an Ancient Aliens touring cast.
Okay.
They get on stage, they sit on a stool, they bore you for 3 hours. What I would love, see what I did there? What I would love is if Action Bronson got on stage, smoked weed with them, and then ate.
And then they talk about it.
And then they talk about it. And he smoked weed with the actual Ancient Aliens cast.
Yeah.
And then they hypothesized, and then they ordered a lot of food and ordered takeout for the entire audience. That would be a show.
Yeah, but since it's not, it's a good show that I can miss.
You ever watch that show?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm into, you know me, I'm into anything paranormal, UFOs, all that. So I'll give anything a chance.
And
then I get a couple episodes in, and it's like, okay, I can't.
I wasted an entire afternoon once just watching Action Bronson lay on a couch. Yo, let me try some of that over there, and I was like, I can't stop watching this. This is stupid.
Yeah.
But I can't stop.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. I got my dad hooked on Ancient Aliens right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got him hooked on Ancient Aliens, and I got him hooked on the paranormal show where it's the camera. They show you different. Oh, what is it called? I don't remember. It's on Discovery Plus.
For me, it makes Ancient Aliens funny.
The Bronson one, Bronson one. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's Mrs. Bruiser. Because when I started watching Ancient Aliens, she was like, "How could you?" I get it. And then she came in one time when he was doing it, and she goes, "Oh, is this?" Oh, and I go, "No, wait." And then he came on. She's like, "Wait, is that?" And I go, "Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah."
And she goes, "This is amazing, but it'd be even better if we were high." I said, "Yep."
Yeah. It's just, if you've never seen it, folks, it's on Vice. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's a great show. Yeah. But it's great in don't do it in more than like an hour and a half spurt.
No, do a show or two and then take a break and then come back. Or unless you're really high, then you can binge watch all of them.
the shows where Rob Van Dam tries to come in and he tries to talk to Action Bronson like seriously about weed. He's like, I don't want to hear that. Try some of this. He has like a big plate of linguine is like the greatest ever. And Rob's trying to tell him, I don't eat carbs. It's like the greatest ever. It's like, do you have anything that's like, protein rich and not so much as far as animal fats? And Action Bronson looks at him and goes, here's a hoagie. It's like, yes. It's just the best ever.
He had Method Man on there one time.
Yes.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because Method Man really wanted to watch the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, shut up. Yeah. It's a good show. It's a good show. And everybody's like, you so lost your credibility to watching Action Bronson, watching Ancient Aliens. Dude, what are you thinking? Anyways, we go on with the UFOs. I'm staying in that lane, man. Staying in that lane.
That was a good segue. That was a great, you know what? That was a good segue, Cruiser. Hell of a segue.
Thanks, man. I try. I try a lot. Let's see. Do I have the music up here? No, that's not the music. I just can't run my own board. This is the music right here. We're combining UFOs and AI.
What?
I know. We're doing this a little early. We're blowing our own minds here. UFO expert posts up an AI-enhanced image of an object spotted over Juarez.
Oh, God.
Our worlds are crossing. I believe this is Jamie Masson used artificial intelligence software to enhance the original image of a round domed ship. The original image which was taken by a football fan who had been at a match in the Estadio Olímpico Benito Juarez Stadium in Mexico, shows what appears to be a disc-shaped object hovering in the sky while silhouetted against a rather spectacular sunset. It wasn't until the photograph was sent along to Jamie Masson, a well-known and somewhat controversial personality in the country's UFO scene, that it... She's controversial? Oh, wait, that's not her. That's a Ukrainian woman who's lonely. I'm looking at another ad. Wow, I've been distracted. I really got to get better glasses.
Yeah.
I got to go see my optometrist. I thought, well, that's Jamie Masson. Anywho.
Why is there a lonely Ukrainian woman on your iPad?
I know. I'm like, hey, baby, you've seen a UFO? We should get together sometime. Where was I? Yes. It began to get attention on social media. What made it stand out in particular, that's really bad with this music in the background. I'm like, hey, baby, I'll be back to pick you up later. It's the old Mr. Microphone ad. What made it stand out in particular was that Masson's use of AI image software to produce an enhanced zoomed-in picture of the actual object. I want to share with you that the case was analyzed with AI technology, and everything indicates that we are looking at a UAP, he wrote. Oh, it's a he. Hey, you know what? Any hole in a foxhole, isn't that what they say?
That's what they say.
That's right. I believe it was a ship of non-human origin. It might be Jaime and not Jamie. I could be, I was just wishful thinking there. While the resulting image certainly looks impressive, the problem with it is that the AI software has altered the object so much that it barely represents what was in the original photograph. Our problem with AI originated pictures to begin with, Bruiser. Yeah.
Did it make the object topless too?
God, I hope so. A topless UFO would be really funny.
Because that was the other problem we had with AI.
Yeah. Submit it to AI, it'll make you show boobies. In reality, boobies and beer, nothing wrong with AI. It's exactly what we wanted. In reality, the object might not have looked anything like this at all. As for what the original image shows, the jury is still out on that one. Interestingly enough, I have the original tweet. Only Bruiser and I can see it because you know what? It's an audio podcast, not a visual. So I'll just show Bruiser. They're saying this is what the AI original looks like, but it just looks like a disc-shaped thing in the sky.
Yeah, that's all it looks like. It looks like your typical UFO.
Yeah, your typical UFO. So yeah, that's all it is really. So
it's a great picture.
Yeah, it is. It's a very nice picture, AI. Although the tower in the foreground looks a lot better than the tiny little disc in the background set against
a black disc.
Yeah, it's a tiny black.
All the details in the tower.
Meanwhile, there's some sort of nuclear explosion where the sun used to be. So thanks, AI. Still trying to destroy humanity since 2020.
Yeah. That's what they do.
That's what they do. A mysterious ball of light, speaking of a giant nuclear explosion, a mysterious ball of light was seen hovering over Glasgow as a man was filmed saying it was a UFO.
Okay.
A man from Glasgow claims he has seen mysterious orbs in the sky on a number of occasions, and no, they're not a bug or dewdrop, and believes that they could be UFOs as they are too complicated to be man-made. A man who spotted a mysterious orb of light hovering over Glasgow believes it could be a UFO. The videographer, who wants to remain anonymous, managed to catch the bright ball of light on his camera. He claims that he has encountered these mysterious orbs on a number of occasions and shares his findings with like-minded people across the world. According to the man, the bright lights in the sky are not of this planet and are too complicated to be man-made, according to Glasgow Live. The man from Glasgow, who has caught the footage, also claims that he has seen lights manipulate the way they look in the sky. So they're changing shape.
That's cool. That'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Now, couldn't it? I don't know how high they are, but it's Glasgow, so couldn't they be fairies also? Don't fairies glow?
I've been around my fair share of fairies, and they sparkle but never glow.
Okay, I'm
going to Disney.
Yes,
just saying, I'm going to run into Tinkerbell, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm also going to Pasco County, so meth pipes glow as well. So I'll let you know about those particular meth fairies as well.
Yeah, if fans want to know what the plan that you and I came up with, they need to listen to our True Crime Tuesday
True
show.
Crime Tuesday. I'm going undercover with Florida Man next week, so it'll be fun. Yeah.
We got the perfect costume, so.
Yes, yeah, it'll be perfect. That's a good question, Bruiser.
I don't know how high they are in the sky or anything, but like when I hear Glasgow and I hear lights, I always think fairies for some reason.
Well, they're more popular, more believed in over there.
Yeah.
Than they're here. But you're onto something there. It may be.
Yeah.
The UFO enthusiast said, I've personally witnessed in Scotland orbs changing into something like a jet, big white light in the middle, green on the sides, and red on the other. So green on one side, red on the other. They're all over the world, and many others have witnessed these balls of light shape-shifting. Now, wait a minute.
Wait, couldn't it just be a plane coming into view?
See, that to me sounds like a plane coming into view.
Because where I live, when I take Ziggy outside at night, we live by the Charlotte airport. So we have air traffic all around us, and I'm always looking up.
Right.
Especially after you did the last story about seeing that comet and stuff. I was out looking, and there's times where I'm like, whoa, that doesn't look like a plane. And I watch it, and then it does that approach. Is the best way to say it. And you can see it, and it's like, okay, there's the wings, there's that, because it's turning into view.
Mm-hmm. So there's two things I'm thinking here. White light, red light, green light. Even if it doesn't make sound, drone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Drone or top secret aircraft wouldn't make noise necessarily either.
Yep. And sometimes when planes are really high in the sky, you don't hear them.
That's right. So maybe.
Yeah, it might just be a plane coming into view.
Yeah. This guy says they're all over the world. I and many others have witnessed these balls of light shape-shifting. He's claiming they're shape-shifting, but I don't know. Mankind does not wield the power, the knowledge, or the science in order to turn energy into mass. The video shows what appears to be a singular ball of light steadily hovering above Glasgow. The videographer claims to have filmed a number of interactions with other worldly crafts on camera, including footage of balls of light shooting into space. I tell you what, I'm gonna post the link to this one.
Okay.
And
let the listeners come up with their own.
Yeah, I'll let you decide whether this is a plane or if it is actually something else, or if it truly is a UFO. You tell us. You can leave us an email. Send us an email, tim@darknessradio.com. There's also a comment section. You can send us an email as well, or send us feedback by going to darknessradioshow.com, and you can send us feedback that way as well. So if you decide to do it that way, you can do it that way. Have you seen the show on HBO Max, The Last of Us?
Oh, yes, and I'm a huge fan. I was a huge fan of the video game, both of them. And this show is amazing. Pedro Pascal, I don't know how he does not win an award this year because he's the Mandalorian.
Yep.
And now he's doing this.
Did you see the trailer for season 3?
I have. You better believe I have.
Were you underwhelmed by the trailer?
No, I think they did that on purpose because they've done that with numerous shows. Like the Obi-Wan trailer was underwhelming, but then you watch the show and it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think they do that on purpose because the Andor, I thought Andor was okay, but I was more excited when I saw the trailer than when I actually watched the show.
Okay. All right. Fair. Yeah. I was a little underwhelmed by the trailer for Mandalorian season 3.
I'm just, it made me excited because I'm a big Mandalorian
I am
fan.
too. I'm a huge Mandalorian fan, but I saw the trailer and I went, I kind of get what the mission is this year, but why should I be impressed? you know?
Yeah. And they're going to throw twists and turns because they got the Ahsoka show coming out.
Yeah.
And they're doing, a bunch of spin-offs of it. So, But The Last of Us, huge fan. Both episodes I've watched are the little things they change from the game make sense.
Okay.
But they are really in tune to the game as far as visual effects. And like I said, Pedro Pascal I don't know how he does not win an award this year.
Very true. He's very talented, that's for sure.
He is.
There's an article out there that's asking, is The Last of Us fungal outbreak possible? And they do a scientific investigation into it. They're interrogating the real world science behind the, is it cordyceps brain infection, I believe, in HBO's latest hit. HBO's Chernobyl was a masterful series dramatizing the 1986 nuclear reactor meltdown at the power plant. The Craig, I believe it's Mazin directed limited series dominated the cultural conversation in our pre-pandemic world. But they're now looking into Mazin's next HBO outing, which is The Last of Us. If you haven't checked it out, check it out on HBO Max. It's based on the 2013 survival horror video game that Bruiser was just talking about. CNET's own Sean Keane described the show, which debuted on a couple weeks ago on Sunday, as the greatest video game adaptation ever made. Would you argue with that, Bruiser, or would you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. And like I said, the changes that they made, like if you watch before the credits start, they always explain the episode. They'll do different things. In the video game, the way, and this might be explained in the article, but in the video game, the way that the infection spread is through spores. It's airborne.
Yes. Yep.
And with the show, they wanted to make it more fungal because it is a fungal infection.
Exactly.
So they made it the fungus that you're talking about, and it's got like the little stringy things. And what's really cool is in this, which in real life, fungus is all attached. So if you touch a fungus a mile away, another fungus can feel it. And so this way, all the infected are connected. So if one infected, something happens, you can have 100 more coming at you. And it's an addition to the show that's not in the game that I thought was amazing. And they wanted to do it because they wanted to make it more realistic.
You pretty much nailed it. The Last of Us imagines a world ravaged by, as Bruiser said, a fungal apocalypse caused by a creepy mind-controlling fungus known as cordyceps. That fungus is real. So they say, so they've naturally been wondering just how likely that fungi apocalypse really is. The idea has been investigated in the context of the game many times, but HBO's version of the cordyceps brain infection is slightly different to the one game developer Naughty Dog first conjured in 2013. We won't go fully into it, but the real-world inspiration for The Last of Us is this. Basically, you can blame David Attenborough and nature documentaries for the shambling, clicking horrors that haunt The Last of Us. In a must-watch episode on jungles in the 2006 BBC series Planet Earth, Attenborough and his documentary team encounter various behavior-manipulating fungi, including one that parasites carpenter ants. And
they mentioned that in the show.
Yeah, and you got to forgive me if I don't nail the name on this. It's Ophiocordyceps. In the clip, there's a clip in this article, I won't play it, which has been viewed on YouTube over 10 million times. The camera lingers on an ant with its jaws wrapped around a tree branch. A ghostly violin plays as Attenborough narrates the scene. He says something out of science fiction, the fruiting body of cordyceps erupts from the ant's head, he says. The Planet Earth scene inspired Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann, the director and creative director, respectively, on 2013's The Last of Us. In a GamesBeat interview after the game's release, Druckmann mentions ripping off the documentary, and Straley says that zombie ants were the jumping-off point for the game. And the game does hew closely to its real-world source material. The life cycle of Ophiocordyceps is gruesome but beautiful, it says in the article. I don't know about beautiful.
Yeah.
Ants that come into contact with Ophiocordyceps spores on the jungle floor become infected. The fungus slips inside the ant's body and begins to replicate. It takes up residence in particular regions like the brain and muscle, releasing chemical compounds to manipulate the behavior of the ant. The ant is directed to the underside of a leaf high above the ground and bites into it. Its jaws lock around the leaf thanks to some clever fungal compounds, and it stays there until the fruiting body erupts from its head. Yeah. Eventually, it bursts open and releases more spores to the ground. That way, it's able to spread.
Yep. They explain that in the first episode. If you spoiler alert, if you watch the first episode, they open it with two scientists, and they're talking about what could happen to humankind, and it's supposed to take place in like the 60s or 70s, and he brings up those particular ants.
Yeah. So here's the thing: could it happen to us? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I am actually. I've always watching these apocalypse shows like Walking Dead and now this. You're kind of like, what are the chances? Like, was George Romero onto something when he created that zombie?
Well, he was either onto something or he's on something. In this case, the short answer is they're on something. It's improbable. The longer answer, maybe, but with a ton of caveats.
Yeah.
Okay. There are two key plot devices that underpin the fungal pandemic in the TV version of The Last of Us, and they're this: climate change and how the fungi reproduce. That's the short answer.
Yeah.
Okay. The Last of Us sets up its first season with an interview segment that takes place in 1968. Two fictional researchers, as Bruiser was saying, are discussing pandemics on a talk show. One of them, Dr. Newman, says he's not scared of bacteria or viruses kickstarting a pandemic. Unlike the other guest, what scares him most is fungi, mostly because they don't kill the host, they just take it over. The audience laughs, and after the past 3 years, you might too. Then 35 years later in the fictional world, that's exactly what happens. In the real world, scientists have often wondered why insects, plants, and amphibians are so susceptible to fungal diseases. Research has shown that regulating body temperature, or homeothermy, is a great barrier against fungal infection. Fungi thrive in cooler environments, and that's why they're potent enemies of insects, amphibians, and plants. It also means they're not as big a danger to hot-blooded animals like ourselves.
Yeah.
So there, folks, is why we won't see The Last of Us.
And they cover that kind of in the show because the way they test you, see if you're infected, is temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you think about in The Walking Dead, when you got bit, you got a fever. That's how they knew you were going to turn. In this, it's the opposite. The other reason why, Bruiser? Yeah. Fungi have to be able to absorb human tissue, which they struggle to do. Even if they manage to invade us, they still have to contend with a robust human immune system. So tough actin tenactin would also get rid of it. I was going to say, tell that to the athlete's foot. Yeah. We can be infected by fungi through, Candida, the song by Freddie Fender. I'm not familiar with that one. Whoa, whoa, Candida. I know there's a bunch of old people singing that now that I've done. We can make it together. Candida is not just a song by Freddie Fender. It's also the typical type of spore you get, but okay. It's also fought with tough actin tenactin. It's a yeast. It causes thrush. Actually, okay, I know what thrush is. Yeah. My father-in-law used to get thrush all the time because he was on so many antibiotics. Mm-hmm. And because you're on so many antibiotics, it causes thrush. Yeah, there's also molds, which cause athlete's foot, and ringworm. That's the tough actin tenactin stuff. I've had ringworm. That's the worst. Yep. I've had athlete's foot too, but ringworm is way worse than athlete's foot. But we've got stuff to treat all this, folks. Yeah. Yeah. So we don't need to worry about The Last of Us, essentially. Yeah, essentially what he says in the thing was we can combat viral and bacterial infections with medicine, where with fungal, it's not that simple. Right. Right. And I remember when he said it, I'm like, well, what about tough actin tenactin? Exactly. Well, it's that time, Bruiser. We're going to take our break. When we come back, your iPhone app, or a new iPhone app, is going to let you talk to Hitler and Jeffrey Epstein. We'll tell you all about it when we come back from the break.
Near-death experience lets a priest go to hell, and he's hearing Rihanna music. She's just not for the Super Bowl anymore. And we'll talk a little bit about some monsters. We're going to talk about a pelican state of mind down there in Nolens, and a woman finds a Bigfoot video among her late father's VHS tapes. That's right. Bigfoot was VHS before VHS was cool.
All right.
That's all coming up next on the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. It's a Supernatural Wednesday right here on Darkness Radio.
Reach for the sky, boy.
Welcome back to the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm the cruiser, that's a bruiser! Otherwise known as Tim Dennison, Beer City Bruiser. Oh, Bruiser!
Yes, cruiser.
It's that time once again to just go over there to the closet, grab yourself a nice tall drink of nightmare fuel! And boy, we're starting it out strong today.
You know, I hear Nightmare Fuel a lot more now, and I still say that we created it.
It wasn't us. I got it from somewhere else.
No, we created it. It's our show.
Okay,
it's our show, Tim.
That's right. We created it. We did the phenomena deal first. We did we started the what match can we claim we created?
What?
What wrestling match can we claim we created? I don't know.
The underwater needlepoint.
There we go. We created the underwater needlepoint match. It's all us.
Yeah.
A Tesla engineer testifies that the self-driving video was staged.
What?
Yep.
I knew they were trying to kill us.
Whoopsie. Just a small, tiny little whoopsie. The engineer said the car couldn't actually accelerate at green lights on its own, and it appears, as it appeared in a video, it can't take off by itself. Sorry. A video released by Tesla in 2016 purportedly showing the car maker's self-driving technology in use on the road was actually staged, according to testimony from a senior Tesla engineer. Is it time to take them off the road?
Yes, you got to. They're exploding everywhere. They don't drive by themselves.
The video states the car is driving itself, but Tesla director of autopilot software, Ashok Elzwani, said in reality the car was driving on a predetermined route and couldn't actually do things like stop at a red light by itself. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. And the comments from Elzwani came from a July deposition for a 2018 lawsuit against Tesla after a fatal crash involving autopilot.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
Oh, good God. Elzwami, said the request for a promotional video was as a demonstration of the system's capabilities was made by Tesla's CEO Elon Musk, who later tweeted out the video.
I wonder, does he know it was fake?
I don't know. That's a good question. He says here the intent of the video was not to accurately portray what was available for customers in 2016. It was to portray that it was possible to build into the system.
So they're using those clever words there.
Mm-hmm.
That's that bureaucratic way of saying something works. But when you get in trouble, you go back and go, I never said it actually worked.
We never said it was a feature. We meant that it would eventually be possible.
Yeah, it's all in the wording.
That's right. That according to a transcript of his testimony reviewed by Reuters. Elzwami's testimony is reportedly the first time a Tesla employee has confirmed and explained how the company made the video. The New York Times previously reported the car's route in the video had been charted ahead of time. In addition to the 2018 lawsuit, Tesla continues to face multiple lawsuits and challenges from regulatory agencies. Tesla didn't immediately respond to CNET's request for comment. The automaker no longer operates a public relations department that would typically field such requests.
Well, yeah, because they're probably getting bombarded with all these people getting in accidents.
That's right, Bruiser. That's right.
Hank in public relations just quit. Let's get rid of the department.
They're kind of doing the same thing now at Tesla that they are doing at Twitter. Let's just get rid of the essential departments we need, like public relations. Our next story, Bruiser. That new iPhone app is out. The one that,
talk to Hitler.
The one that lets you talk to Hitler and Jeffrey Epstein beyond the grave, but it's only available for a price.
Who would pay for this?
Oh, I might want to see what Hitler has to say.
About what? He's been dead how long?
Here's the thing that's so controversial about it, though. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
This controversial new AI chat app lets you talk to virtual versions of historical figures from Jesus to Adolf Hitler, but the bot has produced some puzzling and worrying responses. This is where the comedy aspect comes in.
Yeah, because nobody knew what they really talked about.
Exactly.
Like you can't AI, because AI pulls from articles and research and stuff. It's not going to get an accurate research on what Jesus actually said.
How would you like this is a Saturday Night Live bit ready to happen.
Jesus and Hitler talking.
Your pocket Adolf goes with you wherever you go. Pocket Adolf giving you advice. You're in a job interview and you get a tough question. Pocket Adolf is there to help you answer the question. Pocket Adolf. A new chatbot that lets you talk to AI versions of historical figures has caused some controversy by charging users to talk to Adolf Hitler. Oh, God. Who thought this was a good idea? The iPhone app called Historical Figures uses the ChatGPT algorithm to generate virtual versions of dead people, from Jesus to Jeffrey Epstein. Who's talking to Jeffrey Epstein about anything?
Yeah, what are they going to find out from him?
The right kid to diddle? I have no idea.
Yeah. And like, it's not like Jesus did podcasts back in the day. So how do they get his voice and what he's doing?
The Jesus podcast. The Messiah on the microphone.
Welcome to the J-Man and the 12 Apostles. We're coming at ya.
Judas on the mic.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John here to answer your questions.
Send them an email now.
www.christpodcast.com.
By the way, Jesus never sends you the direct response. He's got a little problem with his hands. Just saying.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow. It's arthritis, by the way.
It is, because he's so old.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you people are thinking.
Developers weren't thinking when they developed this.
No, it was a 25-year-old, by the way. So yeah, he doesn't have a clue.
No, he didn't know who Hitler is. By the time he graduated high school, they didn't teach him about World War II.
Barely knows the weight of Jeffrey Epstein. Developed by 25-year-old Siddhant Chadha, the app gives you access to 20,000 historical figures who can talk to users as if they were alive or still alive. How would you like to talk to Napoleon? I would just...
Again, how? He wasn't recorded. Like, how are they getting his voice and everything? It's not like Napoleon was doing the BBC back in the day. I think I will invade England.
And he has a German accent.
I don't know why he became German when he's French, but still.
By the way, Napoleon, do you know your dick's in a jar? That's all I would tell him. Why is he?
Why is my dick in the jar?
He's German Napoleon.
I don't know why.
Why is my dick in a jar? However, historical figure has been on the receiving end of some criticism because some of its more controversial figures seem intent on defending their actions.
Yeah, they're probably giving really bad advice.
You think?
Oh, God, yeah.
I almost want to get this app.
Like, hey, Hitler, I got a neighbor who won't take his fence post down. What should I do? You shall go and take over his land. You invade him now.
I have to see how much this app is. Should we find out? Should we find out together, folks?
No. Why are we supporting this?
Because I have to know if Napoleon knows his dick is in a jar. I just have to know.
Hey, Hitler, you know you were a piece of shit? 9.
I am the good boy. Mama told me I am the good boy.
Everyone tells me I am the good boy.
Mama says I am the good boy. Pocket Adolf is just the funniest SNL skit I think I would ever watch.
Probably because all he tell you to do is take over the whatever it is.
Take it over. But he's a guy giving me an interview. Take his desk. Take it like Poland. Historical figures chat. Sident Chata. It's there. I'm downloading
How much?
it. I don't know. I'm downloading it. I think it's initial free download.
Yeah, but you can't get Hitler for free. I wonder, do you get like Bill Cosby for free?
I don't know. Maybe you could.
If we're just going with pieces of shit of history, like who's going to be free?
Let's see.
Stalin?
Let's see. Let's continue with Google.
Churchill? He wasn't a piece of shit.
I don't want people on Facebook to know I have this thing. I just don't.
No, but all of our listeners know you have it now.
No, they don't. I mean, people don't know me on Google, son. Verify factual information. AI is not guaranteed to be accurate. It is impossible to know what historical figures may have said. This app uses limited data to best guess what conversations may have looked like. Okay. Search for his historical figure to get started.
Genghis Khan.
Oh, wait. Let's see what we've got here. Should we just go for broke? Who do you want to talk to?
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan? All right. We're going to talk to Genghis Khan.
How do they know what his voice was? Like, again, it wasn't like Genghis Khan was doing interviews back in the day.
Oh, it cost 500 coins. What's not enough tokens? Okay, so 500. It's $15.99 to talk to Genghis Khan?
Jeez.
I don't want to talk to Genghis Khan that much. Okay, let's go for broke. Let's see how much Adolf Hitler is to talk to.
Who would be free? Think about who would be free.
Adolf Hitler is $15.99.
Okay, can you talk to Kennedy?
Ooh, let's see. Good Lord. What are you doing waking me from the dead?
Hey, John, I have a headache. Take the bullet out of your head.
John F. Kennedy is $15.99.
So you got to pay for a bunch. There's nobody for free.
He says, hello, I am an AI simulation of John F. Kennedy. I may not be historically accurate. Please verify factual information.
Okay, what about Mandela? We can ask him about the Mandela effect.
Ooh, did I automatically buy him? Because he just came on and said hi. Oh, Jesus, I hope I didn't. I don't want what about who?
Mandela. We can ask him about the Mandela effect.
Ooh, Nelson Mandela. He's probably like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know why.
He's Indian?
Yeah, I don't know. You could talk to Alec Guinness. You could talk to him about
Obi-Wan.
The original Obi-Wan.
And he hated it.
You can ask him. Yeah, you can ask him what it's like to be a Force figure.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know. That's crazy.
Wait, he's free?
No, none of these guys are free. Alec Guinness is...
So there's no free ones?
No. I think he's 25, if I remember right. These are all 25.
Wait, Alec Guinness is more than Hitler?
No, Hitler is 50.
Oh, he was 50. So Hitler's the 50. Guy.
Yeah, Hitler's the man, I guess. I don't know.
What about George Washington, the father of our country? He's got to be up there.
Oh, my God. Literally, oh, my God. It's 500 coins to talk to Jesus. Woo!
$500 to talk to somebody that was never on an interview.
Yeah. Let's see how much it is to talk to my ancestor. Bernard de Trommelay. They're like, who? Oh, he's there. Hi, I'm an AI simulation of Bernard de Trommelay.
How much is he?
I think he's free. Greetings, my friend. How can I be of service?
Oh, look at that. You got a free one.
Yeah. You are my 18th great grandfather. I know I'm bothered. I'm boring everybody in the audience right now.
Yeah, because you're not spending $500 to talk to Jesus.
It says, indeed I am. It is an honor to have such a descendant. How can I help you?
So quickly search Ancestry.com to verify that you're related to him.
I'm just going to say, tell me where all our Templar treasure is. Let's see if he tells us.
Oh, you should see if you can get Jesse James for free and tell him where all the money was that he hid all over Missouri.
No, he actually tells me.
What?
Yeah.
So you can go get this gold?
Well, no, he's an asshole about it. He says,
your grandfather's an asshole.
Yeah. He says, so you've heard of the tales of Templar treasure. I'm afraid much of it was lost in the siege of Ascalon. However, some remains may be hidden away somewhere safe.
Oh, so he doesn't tell you. So it's the most broad general answer ever.
Right. And where is this safe place where the treasure is hidden? I'm going to tell everybody on the air so they can go get it before I can. Where the treasure is hidden. I'm afraid I cannot tell you that, as it is a closely guarded secret, asshole AI.
Yeah, but you're related to him.
All I can say is that the treasure is safely tucked away and will remain so until needed.
Tell him, hey, I'm your great grandson and I need it now.
Are you telling me this because you don't know? Or because you're a greedy bastard?
You realize you're arguing with AI right now.
I know this.
It's not really him.
Or because you are greedy. Greedy, LOL. I'll make him think I'm making a joke. No, I am telling you because the Templar Knights made a vow to keep this secret so that the treasure would remain safe and undiscovered. I'm going to throw him a curveball.
Say you're a Templar Knight.
What if I told you I too am a Templar? I'm going to really fuck with this thing. Do you require the pass? The pass is not required, as the Knights of Templar recognize a true Templar by his deeds. If you can prove that your intentions are pure and honorable, then I will reveal the location of the treasure to you.
Okay, how do we do that? Tell them that your intentions are true and honorable? To be like, trust me, bro.
I'm all there, brother. Okay, I'll say my intentions are indeed honorable. My heart is pure.
See, if I ever got one of these, I'd just quote a bunch of lyrics at it. Like, I'd be like, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
I'm looking for Sir Mix-a-Lot. I won't bore you with this anymore. But that's the app, by the way. So yeah, go ahead and if you want. It does say in the article, for example, Hitler costs 500 coins or $15.99. Meanwhile, users can talk to Hitler's henchman, Joseph Goebbels, for free. So if you're looking to start the Third Reich all over again, you can. He claims to feel guilty about the persecution of the Jews, by the way.
No, he doesn't.
Goebbels does. No, he doesn't. According to Vice, the Jeffrey Epstein AI said he's focused on justice and closure for his crimes, doesn't know who killed him, but that he had many powerful enemies. Twitter users have been confused by some of the bizarre responses the AI versions of historical figures have produced, including notable anti-Semite Henry Ford, who denied hating Jewish people by saying, "I've always believed in equality for everyone, regardless of their religious backgrounds and beliefs."
So they made them all woke.
Yeah, Henry Ford is woke, baby.
Yeah, so Hitler's going to be woke.
As you can tell by me speaking to my ancestor on here, yeah, he's going to give me the location of the treasure if my heart is pure, I guess.
Yeah.
In reality, Henry Ford published a newspaper which regularly promoted untrue anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. One Twitter user even asked JFK who killed him.
Ah, okay.
Right? The chatbot version of the deceased U.S. president, who was assassinated in 1963, said there are many unanswered questions about his own death.
Gosh.
And there's a whole diatribe about that. He also justified the app's inaccuracy. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a spot here. Chata told Vice that he thinks his app will be useful from an educational standpoint and as a way to teach students about historical figures. Not if they're lying.
No, yeah. They're just bullshitting the whole time. That doesn't help them at all.
Right. He also justified the app's inaccuracies by saying we don't want to spread things that are hateful and harmful for society, so it detects it's saying things that are racist or hateful, these sorts of things. I don't want to show that to a user. He said that could be harmful to students, especially if they're saying things that are harmful and hateful to the person they're talking to. Oh.
Then why do you have Hitler on there, who was one of the most harmful and hateful people in human history?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't make everyone woke.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
A guy said he had a heart attack, went to hell in 2016. Here's what he saw. It's not just a guy, by the way. It's a priest.
I wonder why he went to hell.
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe there's some stuff going on in the rectory, if you know what I mean. Yeah. He saw men walking like dogs and heard demons singing Rihanna songs. So we know who's backing up Rihanna at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2016, a Michigan-based priest named Gerald Johnson suffered a heart attack. He says he had a near-death experience at the time that sent him somewhere he never thought he'd visit. And that place was hell, Bruiser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, HE double hockey sticks.
He went to Canada.
No, Bruiser! Didn't go to Canada. Canada's a very nice place. Recently, Johnson took to TikTok, of course. When you want to talk about hell, you go straight to TikTok. And
oh, of course you do. You have a near-death experience, you TikTok it.
That's right. You tell the kids on TikTok about it. To share the details of his traumatic NDE, far from the kind of warm, bright light epiphany you might expect to hear from someone who temporarily ventures into the great beyond, Johnson recounts in the viral video, "I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't care what he did to me. No one deserves that." Johnson says that immediately after his heart attack in February of 2016, his spirit left his physical body and went down to hell, entering through the very center of the earth. Though he says, the things I saw there are indescribable. He did his best. Johnson claims he saw a man walking on all fours like a dog and getting burned from head to toe.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Hell doesn't sound like a good place.
Well,
minus the Rihanna songs.
It's no timeshare. That's for sure. Yeah. His eyes were bulging, and worse than that, he was wearing chains on his neck. He was like a hellhound. There was a demon hiding the chains. Yikes. Eesh. Also interesting, Johnson heard music in hell, including Rihanna's Umbrella. I think I know. Yeah. That song is straight from
Umbrella,
hell.
Ella.
And Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy was also playing in hell. I can see that as well. Traditionally upbeat tunes. Don't worry. Be happy. Yeah, I can.
You're in hell.
You're in hell.
Be happy.
You're never getting out. Boom, 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 boom. Don't worry. Be happy now.
He passed away, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So maybe he's in hell.
Maybe he is. Maybe it was him singing it.
Yeah, maybe it's like, hey, your punishment here in hell is you have to sing that one song over and over and over and over and over.
Hey, buddy, you're never getting out. Only this time, by the way, the demons were singing the songs to torture people.
I wouldn't be tortured.
Do you think demons have great voices, or are they really bad?
I think they're really bad.
Are they? Okay.
They gotta be. I think it's gonna be like the worst karaoke night you've ever been to.
Probably. Johnson said his hellacious NDE made him realize he needs to forgive people who had wronged him, like demons singing Bobby McFerrin.
Like Bobby McFerrin somehow wronged him.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of hoping for their punishment. Maybe Johnson's stories sound far-fetched to you, but scientists say that while many of the most publicized NDEs have a positive spin, negative NDEs certainly occur too. The experts just aren't entirely sure how or why. Researchers, especially those from the International Association for Near-Death Studies, believe NDEs most likely happen due to a change in blood flow to the brain during sudden life-threatening events like a heart attack, blunt trauma, or even shock. As your brain starts losing blood and oxygen, the electrical activity within the brain begins to power down. They say, quote, like a town that loses power one neighborhood at a time, local regions of the brain go offline one after another. During an NDE, your mind is left to keep working, but without its normal operational parameters, whether simply an oxygen shortage, some sort of anesthesia, or a neurochemical response to trauma. As hypothesized, the NDE leaves those who experience it with a real, sometimes traumatic memory. We may not know how that memory happens, and unlike Johnson and his trip to hell, victims may not want to recount it ever again, but it could change their life. Here's why I disagree, Bruiser. I've talked about it a couple of times, but I've never gone deep into it. When I had my little bout of sepsis, and I was fading out, and I heard we're losing him. Everything went dark. There were no bright lights.
Yeah.
But when I came back, they did say they lost me. I was told the second time when I had an injection in my back that they had lost me for a short time. And I remember some sort of weird dream, but I don't remember what was in the dream. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But there was a time where it was just nothing, and then I woke up. So I had a kind of a lucid dream, and I remember it was just a dream like I normally have when I'm sleeping, but then nothing. And then boom, I was back, but it was a violent awakening, and I woke up in recovery. But that's kind of what you get when you're on propofol.
Right.
You know. And they were a little worried. They were like, boy, we had a hard time getting you back. And I was like, getting me back? And they're like, yeah, we lost you for a couple of seconds. But it was nothing. It was nothing. It's not unusual.
We just lost you.
I'm like,
what?
It's not unusual.
Yeah.
They're like, no. We had a little bit of a problem. And then, you've got this deal with your heart with the PVCs, and something just kind of happened.
Yeah.
To me, if that's the case, if an NDE happens when you're losing capability, or you're losing your life, well, what wasn't short-circuiting in my brain at the time is I was losing it.
Right.
Wouldn't you think as I'm losing life that things should be short-circuiting? Well,
you were only gone for a couple seconds. How long was the priest gone for? That's the factor that you got to factor in is when does an NDE start?
True. Very true. I don't know how long. They didn't tell me in the
You didn't even experience like going out of your body and seeing yourself laying there or anything?
No, I saw the edges of the room go dark as I was fading out. Everything went to black around us.
Right.
And then I looked up at the ceiling and I heard we're losing them. And I heard in the sepsis episode, and I heard my blood pressure and my blood sugar. My blood sugar was like in the 20s or 30s. It was 30 something, and then it was 20 something because they were constantly taking it. They were monitoring it. And then I heard my blood pressure, and it was something scary. Like it was like 20 over something. It was really bad.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it just, everything went black. And I don't know how long I was out for, but I just remember coming back and just like going like a deep breath. And I had a Jamaican nurse that was working on me on my right side. And I had another nurse on my left side of me, a white lady. And the Jamaican nurse is screaming at me and she's feeding me this lemony, it was like lemony snotty stuff to keep my blood sugar up.
Yeah.
She yells at me, "You're not dying on me today." She's feeding me this lemony stuff. She goes, keep eating, keep eating.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to eat. I knew that. I just didn't want to eat that crap. It was just, ugh. But she never told me because, again, they don't want to focus on the negative.
Correct. They want to focus on the positive that you're back.
Right. Yeah.
So like that brings up the question, when does an NDE start?
Right.
How long after you pass does it start?
Right. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because you also hear about people that come back from an NDE and they develop psychic powers or psychic abilities.
Yeah, that's quite common. Quite common.
You know.
Yeah.
But when does that start? Is it a second? Is it a minute? Is it 10 minutes? Is it,
No idea. Now with that, we'll go to the next story. Poor sleep is also linked to paranormal beliefs around aliens, ghosts, and demons. So if an NDE is simply just a reaction to your brain shutting down, are paranormal beliefs just linked to your brain shutting down from poor sleep? Okay. This article, quite interesting as well. And we'll get into this. We'll kind of skip ahead a little bit in the article and tell you that, according to new research, an inability to sleep well could make the night appear even more alive, leading to stronger beliefs in ghosts, demons, aliens, and the afterlife. A number of previous studies have linked such convictions to specific sleep disorders. These include sleep paralysis, which entails a temporary inability to move upon waking or falling asleep, and exploding head syndrome. Yes, sounds kinky, I know, but is not what you're thinking. Characterized by hearing loud bangs when nodding off. Have you ever had that happen?
I have not had that happen. I've had sleep paralysis, but I've not had the head explode.
I have. But that bang when you're falling out, I always think it's somebody breaking into the house.
You know what? I've had it on an airplane before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I factored into someone closing the luggage bin.
Yep. Yeah, that's exploding head syndrome.
But I've had sleep paralysis numerous times.
Okay.
And it's you have to talk yourself through it.
Yeah. Yep. Given that both these conditions are associated with hallucinatory phenomena, including the sudden appearance of shadowy figures by one's bedside, it's understandable that those who experience such mischief might be more inclined to believe in the paranormal. Indeed, such ideas are even encouraged by numerous cultural explanations for these sleep disorders. In Egypt, for instance, sleep paralysis is often said to be caused by nefarious spirits called jinn, which some Italians blame the condition for on an evil cat-like witch called, is this pandafeshe, I believe? Taking a more scientific approach, the study authors analyzed the response of 8,850 people to a survey about sleep quality and paranormal beliefs. In particular, they sought to determine how sleep impacts people's convictions regarding the existence of ghosts and demons, the continuation of the soul after death, and the possibility of aliens having already visited Earth. Overall, they found that such beliefs are common among those who get fewer hours of sleep per night, take longer to fall asleep, struggle with insomnia, or report lower sleep efficiency. Most strikingly, they found that around 2/3 of those who experienced sleep paralysis or exploding head syndrome were convinced that aliens had already walked among us. compared with just 3.4% of the total sample. Just under 60% of participants who had undergone sleep paralysis also said that they thought near-death experiences prove that the soul lives after death, while those with stronger insomnia symptoms were more likely to believe in the devil.
Okay.
Interesting. As sleep paralysis involves different types of hallucinations, including auditory and visual, and exploding head syndrome typically involves a bang. Our findings suggest that the belief in aliens may be associated with sleep disturbances that produce sounds or images, write the study authors. One explanation for these associations is therefore that someone experiencing sounds or images associated with sleep could interpret this as evidence that aliens or other supernatural beings exist. Further research will be required to test this theory and examine the causal associations between sleep quality and paranormal beliefs. In the meantime, the researchers say their findings could help clinicians diagnose sleep disorders among patients who endorse such ideas. So there you go.
Okay.
Let's switch gears. Let's pivot a little bit. We'll talk about a woman who found a Bigfoot video among her late father's VHS tapes.
That's going to be my kids.
Yeah, they're going to go through your stuff and be like, look what Dad found. The footage shows what appears to be a large hominid crossing a forest road in front of an approaching vehicle. Now, the clip was sent via U.S. mail to unexplainedmysteries.com. The following background information was also provided. A woman writes, my dad sadly passed away recently. Me and my brother were sorting through his personal possessions. We found a few VHS videotapes. Just out of curiosity, we decided to view them, noting nothing worth talking about except for one. Just one.
Oh, look, it's our third birthday. Wait, what is going on here? I don't remember him at our third birthday.
That guy didn't show up for cake. On one tape, there's a 9-second clip. A bit strange, shows some type of dark figure moving across the road. We've isolated the 9 seconds of footage. The rest of the tape was blank.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. We asked Mom what she knew about this tape. She said that all she knew was that Dad and a few friends saw it and caught it on tape, and that it was filmed years ago in the 70s, somewhere in California, when he was in his 20s.
So wait, Mom didn't go, whoa. What tape did you kids find?
No. That's not Mommy. That's not Mommy in that outfit. She said Dad showed her the video many years ago, but he never mentioned it after that. She said he described it as a large Bigfoot type creature covered in dark hair and that it didn't look human. He said the thing went behind a tree and vanished into thin air and was gone. They never saw it again after it vanished. That's all she could tell us. Pretty strange if you ask me. Anyway, we decided to send it out to some paranormal groups, get it out there, and hopefully get some opinions as to what it might be. If you want to upload it to your platforms to share it with your audience, then it's cool with us. I tell you what, I'm going to post this one as well so you can watch it yourself.
Yeah. I love Bigfoot videos.
It's only 9 seconds, but it's strange. That's for sure.
But it's 9 seconds of Bigfoot.
Or is it?
Or is it? Yeah.
Or is it? We'll let you take a look at it yourself, and you can judge for yourself what it is exactly that walked across that road. A listener wrote into us and said, hey, Tim, boy, if I got a local legend for you, a cryptid that is native to our bayou, and we want to tell you about it. It's the legend of the Honey Island Swamp Monster. So I figured...
I think, didn't the Impractical Jokers cover this?
I'm not sure. I don't watch a lot of Impractical Jokers. Every once in a while I'll turn it on, but...
Yeah, I thought it was a swamp monster. I have to hear the legend and I'll let you know.
Okay. It says here, I'm going to try and, it's in Slidell, Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah. It's dusk in the bayou. The sun sets in the western sky and illuminates the Louisiana horizon in a wondrous glow. Moss-filled cypress trees. I need glasses again.
Which is a beautiful sight if you're into the swamp like imagery.
Yep.
A moss-covered cypress with the water and stuff is just, to me at least, I think it's a beautiful imagery. I fell in love with it because of the Swamp Thing comic book.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Moss-filled cypress trees cast their gloomy shadows. The water is ominously still and crickets chirp in the distance. Suddenly, leaves on the ground start to crackle to the rhythm of stomping footsteps. Bushes rustle and an awful smell permeates the air. The noise is faint but only getting louder and louder, and it's apparent at this point that something is coming toward you, and whatever it is, it knows you're here and doesn't want you to be. That sinister figure standing behind mangled tree branches and staring you down with haunting yellow eyes, well, yeah, it's definitely time to get out of here. Before you can even process what you just saw from across the bayou, you've already are in your car and headed westbound down I-12. You just had an encounter with the Honey Island Swamp Monster. There's definitely nothing sweet about it, as its name would otherwise imply. Just north of Lake Pontchartrain, on a bend of Old Pearl River, you'll find the one and only Honey Island Swamp, earning its name from the abundance of honeybees, which is Louisiana's state insect that once inhabited the isle. Honey Island is one of the most pristine marshlands in the United States. Much of the nearly 70,000-acre swamp is government protected and is part of the Pearl River wildlife. If you find yourself in the area or on a guided tour, you'll see just why Honey Island Swamp is the tourist attraction that it is. You're sure to find alligators, turtles, snakes, raccoons, wild boar, dozens of species of birds, and so much more, not to mention there's all kinds of wildlife that inhabit Honey Island, but legend has it the swamp is home to something that is much more wild. The Honey Island Swamp Monster, as it's been called by many different names, Louisiana's Bigfoot, the Bayou Beast, and even the Wookiee, not to be confused with Chewbacca, which is just a nod and a wink to all the Star Wars fans out there. Theories and speculations about the beast started swirling nationally in the early 1960s, but stories from some locals date back hundreds of years on the Honey Island Swamp Monster. Cajun and Native American folklore associates the swamp monster with the Latish, which is described as a human-like creature that was raised by alligators after wandering into the swamp as an abandoned child. Other tales allege that the swamp monster is the offspring of an alligator and a chimpanzee after a circus train crashed near the Pearl River, resulting in several circus animals escaping. Little to no evidence suggests that the existence of a creature until one day 2 hunters saw something that they couldn't believe. The first documented sighting of the beast was from Harlan Ford in 1963. Ford is a retired air traffic controller who used to fly a twin-engine plane to scout hunting grounds and potential hunting camp locations. He found the perfect spot for the camp, but it was so deeply secluded in Honey Island Swamp, he would have to drive halfway by boat, then walk the other half of the way. One day, Ford and a friend were hauling supplies to their camp when they noticed from a distance what seemed to be a large animal on all fours feeding on another animal. Fearing the animal, oh boy, do I have a picture here to show you, Bruiser. Fearing the animal would get frightened and try to attack them, they quickly drew their guns. As soon as they did, the creature quickly stood up on 2 feet, looked him in the eye, and then it took off running. Ford documented what he saw that day in a letter that he later wrote. He described the creature as being over 7 foot tall, having dingy grayish hair, yellow eyes, and being accompanied by a distinguishing stench. It looked something like it was from a horror movie, explained Ford. Having witnessed something so strange, Ford became determined to spot the creature again. Persisting to gather evidence from some 10 years, he eventually went back to the location where he first saw the creature. On a trail near a small watering hole, Ford noticed what looked like the aftermath of a fatal fight for survival. Seeing spots of spattered blood on the ground, he crawled through the shrubbery to the other side of that watering hole to find a wild boar that had just been killed and its throat had been ripped out completely. Next to the boar was a series of large footprints in the mud. The footprints, which were later cast by Ford using liquid plaster, indicated a massive 3-toed webbed foot. Ford took track castings to the local game warden and LSU's Culture of Agriculture to be analyzed, but they could not identify what kind of animal left these tracks. Ford went a step further in trying to find out more about what he saw that day. He then decided to bring his camera with him. Every time he went to his camp, it was thought that he was unable to capture or ever capture any evidence of the beast on film until a startling discovery was made, Bruiser.
Okay.
Even after all these years, local hunters and fishermen, news stations, the Discovery Channel, and more continue to preserve the legend of the Honey Island swamp monster. None, though, have ever covered the story as closely as Dana Holyfield. Dana Holyfield is the granddaughter of Harlan Ford and has continued her grandfather's research in the form of a documentary, which is a book titled Honey Island Swamp Monsters Documentations and more. All of her works can be found at honeyislandswampmonster.com. She was kind enough to take time to speak with the writer of this article on the phone and had a lot to say about her experiences and stories that her grandfather used to tell her. She said when her grandfather passed away, Holyfield was given a roll of 8mm film labeled Honey Island Swamp Monster that was stored in a box that Ford kept in his home. It had not been seen by anyone besides Ford. Interesting. The film reveals what Ford was shooting one day from a tree bling he set up. A large bipedal creature is faintly seen in the video, roaming the woods from about 100 yards away. Cryptozoologists have analyzed the footage, and while a bit unclear, they didn't rule out the possibility that such a creature exists. When asked about her thoughts on the existence of the monster, Holyfield told the writer of this article that if there were a creature like this out there somewhere, Honey Island Swamp would be the place for it. Wildlife and Fisheries protects large sections of the swamp, and there are parts of the swamp that man has not set foot on. The author of the article, Cole Kinchin is the guy's name, says he was intrigued why Ford decided not to show anybody what was captured on video. Holyfield said that her grandfather was worried that someone would mistake the monster for a fellow hunter and get hurt or killed. More on her grandfather's decision to not reveal some of his research findings, Holyfield said he was so interested in learning more about what he saw, maybe he learned more than what he thought he did. Interesting what's there. But again, honeyislandswampmonster.com if you want to learn more about the creature.
I definitely do. It's a new cryptid, so I'm excited.
Here's the drawing of the monster, which is just unlike anything you've ever seen. Yeah. I'll encourage our listeners to go to the website to see more.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do more research into that. I love Louisiana's got some great urban legends like the Rougarou and now this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very excited to look into it. Thank you for whoever sent that to us.
Yeah, I don't have the name in front of me right now, but and my apologies for not having that name in front of me, but I appreciate it. Again, if you have an interesting story or an interesting cryptid sighting or an interesting ghost story for us, again, send it, tim@darknessradio.com. We want to hear your stories as well for Parashare. Send your Parashare story to tim@darknessradio.com. We want to read it right here on air. So,
got me interested. I'd never heard of this cryptid, so guess what I'm doing tonight? Lots and lots of research, as I normally do.
There you go.
I will annoy Mrs. Bruiser with new facts on a new cryptid.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
No, she gets a kick out of the cryptid stuff. It's when we get in the ghosts and the spiritual stuff that she gets a little creeped out.
There you go. One last story here on Supernatural News for today. We entitled this one, "Look, Ma, Look What I Licked."
I've licked some things in my days.
Hey, now, I don't have my actual rim shot up here. If I did, I'd go like this. Oh, there you go. There we go. Yeah, look, Ma, look what I licked. Potential record-breaking toadzilla has been discovered.
Really?
Yes. Keep your mouth off of that.
Hallucinogenic toads, I hope.
I don't know. Let's find out. A potential record-breaking toad dubbed Toadzilla was recently discovered by park rangers in an Australian rainforest. I would say yes.
Of course it's Australia.
Yes. The massive toad was found on January 12th as rangers were conducting track work in Conway National Park, which is located in the northeastern state of Queensland, according to a Queensland Department of speaking of look what I licked. That's right, ladies. Queensland Department of Environment and Science news release shared on Friday, January 20th. The toad was spotted by Ranger Kylie Gray after the team was forced to move a snake slithering across the track where their vehicle was traveling beside the Conway Circuit. Kylie says, I reached down and grabbed the cane toad. Hey now.
Hey.
And couldn't believe how big and heavy it was.
I've never heard that in my life.
Kylie went on to say, we believe it's a female due to the size. I don't know what that means.
Why was that a rib shot?
I don't know. And female cane toads do grow bigger than males. I don't know what that means either. Gray said the toad weighed weighed 2.7 kilograms or 5.95 pounds.
That's a big toad.
I'll show you a picture in a minute. You know what I mean? I don't know what that means. Which is more than the current record for world's largest toad at 2.65 kilograms. So it's just a little bit bigger than the last one. I don't know what that means.
That's a big toad.
It's a big toad. When we returned to base, she weighed in at 2.7 kilos, which could be a new record, Gray said. The Rangers initially thought of naming the massive amphibian Connie after Conway National Park, but instead decided on a more fitting name to match its incredible size. We named it Toadzilla and quickly put it into a container so we could remove it from the wild, Gray said. Toadzilla is believed to be a serious threat to others if kept in the wild, according to the Rangers. A cane toad that size will eat anything it can fit in its mouth.
Oh, jeez. That's why that snake was there.
That's right.
Toadzilla's like, hey, baby, let me put you in my mouth. I'll slurp you right down.
I don't know. I can't quit hitting this button. That's what she said. All right, enough of that button. People are getting sick of it, I'm sure. Again, cane toad will eat anything that fits in his mouth, and that includes insects, reptiles, and small mammals, Gray said. The giant toad was reported to be, humanely euthanized due to threats of potential environmental damage.
Why would they do that? Just put it in a zoo or something.
Long live Toadzilla. Toadzilla is dead.
Yeah. What jerks? Put it in like a cage and put it in a zoo so people can look at it and study it and put stuff in its mouth.
Evidently, if you're too big, they kill you. That's why I don't ever take it out of my pants.
That is a huge toad. They could have kept that.
You stepped on my touchdown call.
I heard you.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, that's why you keep it in your pants.
Thank you. Yep.
You don't want to be put in a zoo?
No, I don't want him to kill it.
Well,
yeah.
It'll just be your hog in a zoo.
Yeah.
Tim, why is your crotch in that box? Go look at the other side.
My crotch is where?
It's in a box.
Thank you.
On the other side's the viewfinder.
A camera?
That's sad.
Yeah. Long live Toadzilla.
Yeah.
Well, not that long. They killed it. Yeah. Oh, those Aussies. We love you. We love you in Australia. We have a lot of listeners there. So.
Oh, yeah. I love Australia, too. I can't wait to go.
Yeah.
I can't convince Mrs. Bruiser to go, though.
No?
No, she's all those deadly creatures out there. Now when I tell her about this.
Just going to be you and me at the Australian Paracon, huh?
Yeah, I'm in. Let's go.
By the way, if there's an Australian promoter listening, we want to come over.
Yes.
Book us.
Please.
And we'll go find Toadzilla. We'll find a new one.
Yeah. We have bait.
We got something it can eat. I don't know what that means. Oh, for the
Not my first time I've been in a foreign country without pants.
No. And
it's because my wrestling gear are trunks. Come on now.
That's
get
why.
Your head out of the gutter.
Wouldn't be the first time my head was in a gutter.
Don't call her that.
What? That was a stutter shot. It was like a. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today. That's Supernatural News. Tamari on the show. I switched the programs yesterday. I said, is you or is you ain't my empath.
Yeah.
Ain't going to be tomorrow. It's going to be next week. I switched the order on you. Tomorrow, Robert Lindsay Milne is with us.
Okay.
Interesting program. Interesting program indeed. I think you're going to like this one. Robert Lindsay Milne is a psychic, but not just your everyday ordinary psychic. Not your everyday garden variety psychic. He's had an interesting life, Bruiser. He was on the streets at the age of 14.
Oh.
And he was working in a tea room just to survive. That's just the beginning of his story. Robert Lindsay Milne from there has had all different types of paranormal encounters. And we'll talk to him about those paranormal encounters tomorrow.
Okay.
But not just your typical psychic. In fact, he's very confident. We'll put it this way. It's either going to enchant and entice you and you're going to want to know more about his story, or it's going to put you off a little bit. But stick with it. Stick with it, because the story gets very, very interesting. In fact, I had a reading with him after the show, which was very interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting indeed, because I wanted to know just how good he was. This is the only psychic I've ever met, Bruiser, who's told me that he guarantees his work even 30 years after he gives you a reading.
Really?
He tells me, and this is what he does. He makes an electronic record of every single one of his readings. And he believes in integrity in his work. So he gives you an electronic record of his reading. And he says, if you didn't like this reading, if you think this reading sucks, I will give you back the original cost of your reading. If anything that I told you didn't come true or you didn't like it, you think it sucks, I'll give you back the cost of the reading. You just give me back the electronic record.
Okay.
And you know why?
Why?
Because his father told him, and he went to his grave telling him he thought he was a fraud and a charlatan.
So he's backing it up. I like that.
He's backing it up.
I like that. He's betting on himself.
He's betting on himself. And he's been doing it since the age of 14.
Nice.
And so I thought, you know what? I started talking to Robert. The idea was not that I was going to test him. It was never that I was going to test him. We just started talking and I really got along with him. We talked for about 25 minutes before the show. And then we were talking a little bit afterwards. And I really liked the guy.
Yeah.
And even though he's incredibly confident, I don't generally get along with extremely confident, almost cocky people.
Yeah.
I really got along with Robert.
Okay.
And it was then that he stopped and he said, "Can I have your permission to give you a reading?" I said, "Sure." I didn't want to do it on air though, because there's a lot of personal stuff. And boy, did he nail a lot of stuff. Almost everything. Almost everything.
I'd love to get a reading sometime. I'd do it on air.
The reason why I say I don't know if I'd subject you to that is it gets too personal sometimes.
I'm okay with that.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, I'd see how personal it is, but yeah.
Yeah. But just to make a long story short story long, Robert's on tomorrow. Robert Lindsay Milne. And he's confident. I'll give you that. But he also backs it up.
Okay.
Never heard of this before. I've never
heard
of
it
before.
Neither have I.
So he'll be on tomorrow. I want you guys to take a listen to the show because it's interesting. Very interesting.
Huh.
And the other thing I liked about him, he's held other jobs at the same time that he's been a psychic throughout and he's been a psychic for 58 years.
Oh, wow.
He's 74 years old.
Okay.
So Robert Lindsay Milne tomorrow on the show. And then next week, just so you guys know, Bruiser and I are going to take a week off. It's more me than Bruiser, but we're gonna take a week off. We're gonna recharge our batteries. Like I said, 2023 is the year of the comeback, but you can't come back unless you recharge your batteries a little bit. So we're gonna recharge our batteries a little bit. I'm gonna take a little time before surgery and kind of recharge mine, spend some time with family, get ready for the surgery in mid-February. So I'm forcing Bruiser to take a little time as well. He's going to take a little time and tend to business this weekend. And we're going to come back fresher than ever next week. Or the week after. It'll be the week after. But next week, we've got all new shows for you. We've got, let's see, next week we have Ron Francel on with Death Row on True Crime Tuesday. Some true crime fiction you're really going to want to check out. An excellent book there. Reverend Oresti D. Aversa is on talking about grief and trauma and sudden trauma, sudden deaths, especially having to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. And more than that, when a loved one suddenly dies, how do you say goodbye to them? How do you get over that sudden trauma? That is on Wednesday. And then I'm definitely tuning into that one. And then on Thursday, that is ironic because I recorded that before Jamin passed away. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, which is an ironic show. I had no idea. Yeah. No idea. And then on Thursday, we will be sitting down, and that's the Is You Ain't an Empath. That's the one I might piss a few people off with. So we're going to end the week with pissing off a few people who think they're empaths, but may not be, where you have a real empath on. And believe it or not, Bruiser, only 2% of people in the world are empaths. Okay? Okay. The other ones, I say, are physically sensitive to people. Yeah. All right. So we'll find out what exactly I mean by that, by the term physically sensitive. I believe it's physically sensitive is the way I put it. Yeah, you'll find that out Thursday of next week. So that's the lineup for the next few shows. And that's what we're doing. So, yeah, got some good stuff coming up. I can't wait. It'll be good. Yeah. So that'll do it for Beer City Bruiser. I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for being with us, folks. We want to tell you how much we love and appreciate you. And thank you so much for tuning in. We also want to thank our sponsors today. We want to thank Microdose Gummies. By the way, go to microdose.com and find out more about microdosing THC and helping you get out of pain, get out of anxiety, get better sleep, get a better workout, enjoy the moment, and also just get a better life in 2023. Help enjoy life more in 2023 and make that comeback in 2023. Go to microdose.com to learn more about microdosing THC. And at the same time, get 30% off your first order and get free shipping by going to microdose.com. Use that code DARKNESS at checkout. Also, BlueChew.com. We want to thank BlueChew.com for sponsoring the program. Go to BlueChew.com. Use the code DARKNESS at checkout and get your discount there as well. Thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring the program. And we want to thank HelloFresh for sponsoring the program as well. So thank you to our sponsors. And that'll do it for today. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week right here on the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio.